Super Media Runners!
Welcome to Super Media Runners. We run the media to you. I am Jarek, just going solo today for our episode of Pitch Runners for The Marvels. Now, The Marvels just came out last week, so spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the movie yet, but I really do think a movie like this definitely deserves a kind of rewrite. I thought the movie was okay. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. It was a good movie. It was literally just good. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. It was good. It was serviceable. Marvel, trash, or whatever you want to call this, junk food. I don't know what you would want to call this, but that's pretty much my review. It's a good movie. Very, very weird things happening. And I don't think they made us... I think the whole point of this was to throw enough things at us to where we don't care about the characters. We just care about the gimmicks, about the action, about everything that we would want to care about in a Captain Marvel movie, but nothing about the characters. And I just think it's really unfortunate because the ideas that they do have with the characters are super interesting.
In Pitch Runners, we will go over cast, plot summary, and our whole movie pitch using Dan Harmon's story circle through the main character's journey. But before we take that journey, we must consult the studio deck. We pick one card and must do what the card says during the presentation of our idea.
Okay, so we run over the rules of our Pitch Runners concept here, but we will not be using our studio deck. I just think we're having the same cast, same director, same everybody. The only thing I'm doing is rewriting this entire movie to make it kind of work in a way that I feel like would have serviced the details better. So yeah, this is a special Pitch Runners that does not use the studio deck. So let's start from the beginning. Zone of comfort. You know what? Yeah, we don't need to do a plot summary. Let's just go straight to the Dan Harmon story circle. The Zone of Comfort. Carol Danvers lives as Universe Defender Captain Marvel. Again, one of the weirdest things that this movie did was show the villains in the beginning. I didn't even know who the hell the villains were. I mean, I had to look up in Wikipedia. The lady's name's Dar-Benn. I know she's probably, someone important in the comics, but whatever. I didn't care. So when Dar-Benn showed up and her little lackey assistant, who, they didn't have that much going on for them. Like, there was no interest, and the whole point of that was just to show that she has one of the alien bands that Miss Marvel now has, or Kamala Khan. So I think a better starting point was starting from Carol's point of view. She remembers destroying the Supreme Intelligence and what it meant, destroying all those ships in that amazing action scene from one of the only action scenes from Captain Marvel that I remember. And I think giving context to the destruction. So what I liked about Dar-Benn, like halfway towards the movie, is we learned about her origin story when she's talking to her people, and the Kree people. And she basically explains she was there during the explosion and destruction of the Kree army, of all the Kree warships, and how she was there when she destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, and how horrifying it was that pretty much a lot of people died during that destruction. I think it was implied. It wasn't really shown that people in the planet died when all of this destruction and crazy killing was happening. So I think giving context to the destruction through Carol Danvers' point of view, and just her realizing she would be hearing the screams from other people and start seeing a different perspective of, herself as this annihilator. I think that's the biggest thing I liked about this, is that when people called her the Annihilator, she clearly doesn't like having that name, but when she gave context to why she's been given that name, I sort of see now, this is why Carol Danvers is so uptight. This is why Carol Danvers is always a straight edge and is trying her best to save planets, save an entire galaxy, a universe of people from other planets, keeping order. Hell, why don't we get some flashbacks to when Captain Marvel was actually helping during the snap in some of these planets? Wouldn't that be a good way to show a character without spending a lot of money? Hell, just get her in 3 different planets with a green screen or whatever the fuck you guys are using at Disney nowadays, and just showing us how she was doing her best helping people. And it came from this guilt. I think this would be so great in correlating that guilt that Carol Danvers clearly has, and why she is Captain Marvel, why she is saving so many people every single day with her superpowers, because she doesn't want to feel guilty about basically destroying and causing a civil war of the Kree people, even though she did it to save the Skrulls. So this is what Carol wants. This is what she wants. They want something. Carol wants to defeat Dar-Benn before she fulfills her revenge against Earth. I think Dar-Benn's whole "I wanted revenge against your planet Earth, what you call a home, because of what you did to my planet, which I call a home." I think that is fine. The whole stealing the water and the musical planet, which I completely forgot about, doesn't need to happen. I think the sun thing was kind of cool. So let's keep that. So that's her revenge. I'm gonna take down Earth, take its resources, and take fucking the sun. And I'm gonna take your resources using these bands. So the band senses the other band on Earth, because it's with Kamala Khan. This is where we get all the Marvels in. This is where the Marvels comes in. So they actually kidnap her with a couple of Kree soldiers. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to get through Earth's defenses. I mean, you just have Nick Fury in a giant spaceship with a couple of aliens. The fact that they could get there, through like stealth ship or something like that, it should be fucking easy. Maybe they get the distress signal. Maybe that's what brings them all together. So when Kamala Khan's kidnapped by Dar-Benn for her band, Photon and Danvers intercept their ship during the peace talks. See, the peace talks on that planet between the Kree and Dar-Benn, that should stay. I think it would be nice that Danvers is in regular communication with Nick Fury, and this is where she first where she first meets Photon. I think her meeting her awkwardly at Kamala Khan's home didn't really help, and then it kind of got more awkward. And I think having her from the start, okay, I'm helping S.W.O.R.D to with the peace talks, and apparently she kidnapped this girl Kamala Khan on planet Earth. That way we don't have that whole situation with the Flurkins, and I feel like this gives Nick Fury more agency. But yeah, Photon and Danvers intercept the ship during the peace talks. They say they're having this argument over their approach, where Danvers just blasts every door. Because I think that's the biggest thing that I really got from the first movie of Captain Marvel is Captain Marvel doesn't fuck around. She will just shoot a laser at you, and that will end the fight. That was her whole thing. And I think that whole Thanos, Thanos punching her with the Power Stone and all this other shit, I kind of really want it to humble her. I want her to feel like, damn, I'm not the strongest thing in the universe, but this is all I know. My power is what makes me powerful. And, I may have caused a civil war, but hey, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So yeah, they have this argument, and then the rest of the situation happens with the whole switching powers because the band was activated with their powers. I really liked the idea as a gimmick, but gosh, it never felt like it was completely fulfilled throughout. It just kind of felt like a crutch in the beginning of the movie. It really, really did make it a long action scene because they're switching different areas in different sets, and it's like, holy shit, this whole thing it was crazy. I think having it here in one place would probably cut the budget a little bit, and this whole switching situation will probably make it harder for Captain Marvel to really do her Captain Marvel thing, but also it frustrates her because she's realizing she escalated this conflict and made things worse with her abilities. She's used to just using her powers when she uses them and flying away, knowing that she helped people. This is now where she is now seeing the consequences of her actions, where the resources of that planet that the Skrulls were living at. And yeah, that all goes through. So she enters this unfamiliar situation where Carol must work as a diplomatic leader while also balancing her role as a soldier. So I think I want to see more of Carol Danvers as this leader, because she did kind of lead with the Avengers during the snap. Or the blip, or whatever they're calling it nowadays. So yeah, I want her to be part of those additional peace talks and negotiation with Dar-Benn. Because now that they have Miss Marvel, Dar-Benn doesn't really have her full capacity power. She only has one band still. And so she kind of wants to have this negotiation where she'll be like, okay, I will, I will stop this if you just give me the girl and I can get or give me the band. That's all I want. And, they kind of have this thing where Miss Marvel's brought to the spaceship S.W.O.R.D to protect her from Dar-Benn. That's how we keep Nick Fury and Photon and everybody else in the playing field. We keep the family out because the family didn't need to be in the spaceship. The Flurkin didn't need to be pregnant in the spaceship. I think the spaceship B plot was ridiculous. And I think keeping it grounded into this one, part, keeping the spaceship, but also having these negotiations would be great. Because then it kind of teaches Carol, okay, I can't just blast things with lasers. I kind of need to have a talk and really kind of understand where Dar-Benn is coming from. Because Dar-Benn has a point. I mean, think about it. If this crazy superhuman being that you call the Annihilator just nearly wipes out your planet and causes a civil war, you'd kind of want to like tread lightly, but also be like, hey, I want to hurt you because what you've done to hurt me. So I think that's where I kind of want Carol to kind of adapt to, this whole negotiating, talking, I think we never get enough of this whole, talking situation. I think when Marvel characters are talking and the script kind of works for the performances of the actors, that's where the real drama comes from. And I think that kind of like Carol Danvers becoming Captain Marvel, the leader, and not just the soldier, kind of works, So adapting to it, Carol defends her friends from Kree forces and Dar-Benn while also serving as a role model to Miss Marvel and making for lost time with Photon. See, we could still keep the catalyst of those of that drama of how Carol Danvers did not end up seeing her best friend die, and now she's basically dealing with the fact that she's kind of ignoring her best friend's daughter because she feels like she couldn't do anything to help her, and it's just crazy. I think that kind of drama worked. And that was the biggest thing that I liked about the Marvels is this was the first movie where I felt like, okay, we have 3 women in a room and we're they're the main focus. There is no love interests. Hell, if they took out the singing planet, there wouldn't be guys to fawn over. So it's like, this would have been a good movie. And I just think this, like, really structuring it into this drama and Carol Danvers focusing on being a leader rather than a soldier, but also balancing that, I think that really would have helped. So, basically Carol adapts to it. And after speaking with the Kree people regarding, the destruction of their planet in the Civil War, she promises to help them bring back the sun and work towards rebuilding. People start understanding this. Like, maybe there's like a faction where they're like, yes, we may have called you the Annihilator, but, hey, if you're willing to fix our planet, we would love that. And that's where Dar-Benn starts to get desperate. She attempts a coup. It's thwarted by the Marvels. They stop them from, harming more people. And, maybe Nick Fury gets involved with this and gets a couple of gadgets, or kind of gives since he's really good at espionage, he kind of works out where the coup is happening. And, but somehow Dar-Benn ends up getting the bands. Maybe because she was trying to help Miss Marvel, or Miss Marvel was maybe trying to protect her from Dar-Benn during the attack. And, they end up taking the band. So Dar-Benn attempts to steal the Earth's sun. We're back to that whole plot, and I thought this is where I feel like the rest of the movie's going to go. So they get what they want. Stops Dar-Benn and diplomatically leads the Kree in rebuilding and creating peace talks between them and the Skrulls. So I want to keep this where Carol and Photon and Miss Marvel, they work together to fight Dar-Benn, and they try the talk no jutsu. They try to create this sort of understanding, and Captain Marvel really tries, but Dar-Benn is just so wrought with hate and anger that she just loses herself and ends up killing herself while using both bands to open up that big wormhole, or whatever you call it. So that's where we paid the heavy price. Photon sacrifices herself to save Earth and the sun and fix the tear. I don't care that she went on the inside of the other side to close that whole like sew it up. I just think during the battle maybe she falls into it or some shit like that and she ends up fixing it or something. Like, that's her sacrifice. I would love that. So that kind of inspires Carol Danvers to realize, like, yes, she believed in me, and the Kree people and the Skrulls believe in me. I just need to realize that I don't need to just continue to use my powers for destruction. I can also use them to advocate as a leader. So, returning to that familiar situation, Captain Marvel continues to advocate as a leader and fight for justice as a soldier. So, Captain Marvel is now full-on an intergalactic leader works alongside Nick Fury. It was kind of awkward that Captain Marvel left to power the sun, but then she just, shows up for a little bit more with Kamala Khan. But, they both are the only two people that really kind of introduced themselves. And I wish we saw more of that chemistry. So working alongside Nick Fury, Captain Marvel's now this intergalactic leader and inspires Kamala and influences her to work toward unity. And, maybe that goes back to that, not the post-credit scene, but the pre-credit scene where Kamala's trying to create her own Young Avengers. So I think that still stays. So having changed, Carol Danvers learns that there are ways to win without destroying or creating a major problem that creates more consequences. I think she learns this from Photon. And maybe she has like a small talk with Fury about Photon, about how she just never liked being the Annihilator, but she felt like that's what made her a hero. But now she realizes that the world doesn't need a weapon, they need a leader. So she feels like she needs to be that leader for S.W.O.R.D, for the universe, for all worlds, to create peace and enforce justice in what she feels how Photon would have wanted it. So I think that all of this could have easily been part of what makes Captain Marvel Captain Marvel. I think we kind of lost that in this movie. The gimmicks of the teleporting, the gimmicks of, I don't know. There was just so many good pieces in this, and I just feel like my rework kind of highlights those pieces and keeps it all together and gets rid of some of the pieces we probably don't like the singing planet. I don't know, the singing planet. It wasn't me. It wasn't something I wanted. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I guess I'll see you guys next time. That's my Captain Marvel pitch. That's the Marvels Captain Marvel 2. I don't know. Apparently, Brie Larson didn't like it, that it wasn't going to be called Captain Marvel 2 and it was going to be called The Marvels. I don't know if that's true, but man, it's fine. Let's just, The Marvels.